Do you remember your favourite childhood book? The one that you just kept coming back to, night after night, day after day? The one that you just couldn't put down? And it wasn't just that one. There were loads of them. But then one day, you put them down for the last time. You put them down, you never came back. And just like that, one by one, your childhood, well, it was gone. But there was still a gap that needed filling, so you bought different books. Adult books. Books which had promised you that they would tell you how to lead a good life. But did they? Did these books that told you and promised happiness actually make you happy? So how are we going to get it back? How are we going to get back that magical childhood quality? I don't know all the answers, but I think I know a good place to start. And by the way, this video, this isn't the one that's going to be telling you how to be happy, but you might just be able to work it out for yourself by the end of it. So join me as we take a closer look at the philosophy in The Wind in the Willows. And yeah, I know, The Wind in the Willows, really? And I thought the same. When I picked it up, I was just reading it for a nostalgia hit. And then the more I read, and the deeper it got, and by the time I got to chapter 9, yeah, this book, this is the one. The Wind in the Willows is your typical Eden story. It's a safe place surrounded by danger. In this case, the river being the safe place, and the danger, the wild woods. Think Hobbiton in Lord of the Rings, the Forbidden Corridor in the first Harry Potter books. Danger lurks, but so does treasure, if you're brave and knowledgeable enough to venture forth. Toad, Mole, Ratty and Badger are the characters of The Wind in the Willows. They all have their virtues, they've all got their vices, but together, they're formidable. Toad is a hype beast. He's always chasing the latest and greatest, and his identity is stuck in the material. And because of that, because of his approach to life, it's always changing. It's never his. Mole and Ratty, on the other hand, they're content with a simple life, but they have their cracks, where Mole yearns for the past, what was, and Ratty seeks something more. He seeks adventure, and can find at times his life's stale. Only Badger seems content with his own life, but he's isolated and rooted in tradition, and because of that, seen by the others as uncivilized. As a result of Toad's constant need to have the best and the latest thing, he loses everything, and at the same time betrays his friends. His only salvation is that they had unwavering loyalty, and were willing to help him to get back what he had lost. It is then that the four characters are able to synthesize, and become more than they could have been alone, which is great, good for them. But so what? What does it mean for us? And how does this tie in to discovering our own happiness? For me, it's all about tension. The story of The Wind in the Willows exists with constant tension. Progress versus tradition. Individualism versus following the crowd. Who you think you are versus who you actually are. Toad is constantly chasing something new. The latest thing comes out, he wants it. His eyes are on that, and everything else becomes irrelevant. He's so committed to that material progress that he forgets everything else that's important in life. And that's not unique to him. Ratty is also tempted by the adventure of a nomadic life. And even Mole is unfulfilled at times, just wanting to go backwards, to have what was. Badger is the ultimate contrast to Toad and continual progress. But is that the optimal mode of being? Maybe. The Wind in the Willows can only offer you the choice. With his constant chasing of trends, Toad's identity is fragile. It is not dependent on him. It's external in the material world. Toad is shaped by the world, while Badger, again the contrast, lets the world pass him by. His identity is static, and he's stuck in the tradition. Another aspect of identity is accurately understanding who we are and what we're capable of. Without that, we cannot continue. Without that, we cannot even begin to progress. After all, every story needs its beginning. Mole misunderstood his own capabilities and left the sanctity of his Eden to venture into the wild woods. But he got lost, he was afraid, and eventually he needed Ratty to come and save him. Ratty had the knowledge and the ability to come and save Mole. Badger is equally competent. They both know themselves and what they're capable of, and as a result are an asset to others and their society. However, unlike Badger, Ratty is willing to share his knowledge and strengthen Mole. Perhaps Badger's isolation has gone too far. Ratty is more civilized and thus able to return from the unknown, bring that knowledge that he acquired with him, and integrate it into the known world. The Wind in the Willows presents all of these tensions, but it provides no answers. Does that devalue it as a book? No. We've got to stop ascribing the worth of a book to what it tells us. That's not the power of a book. The power of a book is how much it makes you think. That's where the magic lies. That's where real change within ourselves occurs. The book lays out the arguments, and then it makes you think, which path is right? Which path is right for you? Because what's best for me is not the same for you. It's not the same for everyone else. We need to use these tensions, these conflicts, to discover our own principles, our own beliefs. We need to stumble around so that we can discover what works for us. So then we have something that's truly ours, not what someone told us to do. The Wind in the Willows challenged us to find balance within our personality. Are we too stuck in the future or the past, too stuck in our own ways, or moving too fast? Do we really know who we are and what we're capable of? The Wind in the Willows can't answer that question, but you can. See you in the next one.